I'm on here live with Kimberly Ward. She is a somatic trauma therapist and functional nutrition practitioner, and she's also the founder of Somagetics. Kimberly and I are friends, and I think I like to say we were friends first, and now we're also working together and supporting each other. But I asked her to come on live here to my timeline because what she does and what Somagetics does and the work that they do is so incredibly powerful. And I'm personally experiencing that myself. And I've shared it on my podcast. You guys that follow me on my podcast, I've shared what I'm doing and how much I'm growing and changing and healing. And that's why I asked Kimberly to come on, because I wanted to have a conversation to really bring awareness to the trauma energetics coaching. This is something that it's out there in the world, but there's a different way of doing it and different modalities of doing it. And Kimberly and I have worked together. And so I have my own journey as well. But so I just wanted to bring her on. Thanks for coming here, Kimberly. And thanks for being open to being live on Facebook with me.
It's so fun. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So we'll just dive in and get right to the topic. Tell
Okay.
us a little bit about Somagetics first and what it is. What is trauma energetics coaching? What is it that you
Okay.
work with people on?
Sure. I'll be happy to. I'll back up a little bit and kind of explain what brought me to what we call somatic trauma therapy. And then the system that I use now as a somatic trauma therapist to help people. And so I've been a functional nutrition practitioner for years and years. I've been a holistic practitioner for over 30 years. Different modalities I've used with my clients. I worked in a corporate setting in we did functional nutrition coaching for people that wanted to lose weight and get healthier. They had chronic illness. And what I realized over a decade of doing that work, literally thousands of clients, was many people were smart enough to do the healthy protocol, wanted to do the healthy protocol, but they couldn't follow through. And so what I found was that most of those people that couldn't follow through long term with healthy eating and healthy self-care, but that there was trauma at the root of the self-sabotaging behavior that kept them from following through with attaining the health and the life that they wanted. So I left the corporate world to go back into private practice, and I got certified in a few different somatic trauma therapy techniques. And somatic means body based. I knew that it wasn't a cognitive problem. Like we have a cognitive thinking brain that can think through the behaviors, but yet something within us keeps us from keep us stuck in the limiting defensive patterns that typically were wired in when we were children, based on the environment that we were in as children, whether there was really severe traumatic events happening, or if it was more subtle neglect or emotional issues going on in the family. We all had trauma or stress that we had to deal with that we learned to survive. And so I did some somatic training, which helped me have some tools to help people get more in touch with what was happening in their body and their nervous system, where these behaviors are wired into our nervous system. And as I was learning and starting my practice and utilizing these body based techniques to help people kind of rewire the old sabotaging patterns, I met my partner, Laura Fine, who was first a mentor of mine. And she is the founder of a technique called transpersonal energy healing. And we partnered soon after I met her and was trained in her methodology. And we partnered and we brought in the somatic body-based trauma healing techniques that I was trained in. And we paired that with her energetic focus, working with the body's energy system. And truly the nervous system is an energetic system in our body. So it's a lot of people are uncomfortable with the term energy healing. And if that feels like woo woo to you, you can think about it as just the energetics of the nervous system, which is our defensive system, how we deal with threats in our life and in our environment. The nervous system is wired physiologically to help us deal with stress and threats. So mirror pairing her work with my work has been amazing. And we have seen not only transformation within ourselves, but within our community of people that we support. And we've been certifying people in this process for years. And Laura has been using her techniques for 30 years. I got the pleasure of partnering with her to bring this to the world. And she not long ago transitioned. She passed away and transitioned into whatever next is for her in her world. And it was time for me to kind of update what we have done and continue to use transpersonal energy healing, but really share with people the body based somatic nervous system experience. So I rebranded and we call it Somagetics, which is somatic and energetic combined. So we're really working through the body with the focus on the energy system to help people rewire the old, very limiting, self sabotaging behaviors that we all have to some level or other, so that we can really achieve the life and the health that we want to have. And we teach coaches or people how to use this system in our program called Trauma Energetics Coaching Certification. So hopefully that was thorough and
Yeah.
but yet brief.
Yeah, that actually was really helpful, in describing and giving the history behind it, like how it all came to be. And that it makes me think of my personal experience as you were describing it and realizing that when and you and I worked together on my own healing through this system and the process that I went through, and to share with the audience that's watching, when I would have some sort of a trigger, so something came up for me, and I'm an entrepreneur, so that happens all the time, and I work with people, and this is why I'm so excited about this new way of working with my clients, is that speaking up was my thing. I had a hard
Mhm.
time speaking up and speaking out, and I have a podcast, and I share this on my podcast too, and everybody knows that I'm like, I gotta be able to talk, and as a business owner, you have to be able to speak up. You and I are
Yeah.
on here live, which I don't know that I'd be doing this if I hadn't done the work with you, having this conversation and being so open. But speaking up was something that was a fear of mine. And it was very deeply rooted into my nervous system. And you and I worked together on sessions to help me bring that up and out and get it to move. And so to describe that to people that are watching, the thing that I went through was you allowed me to feel the energy. So when I got triggered, I could feel that in my body. I could feel my heart racing. I could feel the emotion, tears,
Mhm.
something that I was suppressing and not letting myself feel. And so to give people a glimpse into the actual what it is that we do when we work with people this way is allowing the person, so me, I'm going to say me as an example, allowing me to tap into my own feeling, my own energy, my own process, and work through that fear of speaking up.
Mhm.
And me recognizing that's what it was, that the trauma I endured, whatever that was way back when, was related to me speaking out.
Mhm.
And that's really what you helped me really discover on my own, which I think is the big power in this. If you wanted to
Yeah.
speak to that a little bit, because you work with clients all the time,
Mhm.
speaking to that, what makes this so different? And I
Yeah.
just explained my experience. And
Mhm.
I got to say to everybody watching, this stuff works. I think I did 3 sessions with Kimberly, and I'm a different person. I'll talk. I'm live on Facebook right now with Kimberly. Like something that I wouldn't have done 2 months ago. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you wouldn't mind just speaking to that, just what you see working with
Uh-huh.
clients and kind of how that process unfolds.
Yeah. Well, what I would say, Susie, is that no, you're not a different person. It's like the real you is now coming out
Yeah.
instead of the defended you that has been running the show for so many years with the positive intention of keeping you safe, right? Because when you were a child, it wasn't safe for you to speak up and have your own voice and you weren't heard. And so, what a practitioner like myself using this system does is create a safe environment for the client to you, for example, to go into and be curious about emotions and energy that has been suppressed to keep you safe for so many years. It becomes a habit. After so many years, we just don't speak up. We don't speak up. We don't speak up. But yet, your soul, your essential self came here to share something brilliant with the world. And our defensive patterns keep that brilliance really locked in. So I train my practitioners that do our certification program to create a safe space for people and to guide them to find their own answers, to create a space so that they can go in and be curious about what's stuck, what's there that's unexpressed, that needs some expression, and then help them really come to their own conclusions about what happened, what they need moving forward. And I don't know the answers. I'm not doing the healing, but I've learned through Laura and some of the other techniques that I've learned, and we combine them together. I've learned that to trust completely that it will unfold, that you know the answer, that my client knows exactly what they need, but we've just got to get some stuff out of the way so that their nervous system can learn to feel safe and to access that inner wisdom that's already, it is there. It's already there. And so what I love about this is it's not about the practitioner healing. It's about the practitioner creating a safe space so that the client can be curious and find their own solution, which you did very beautifully, right? We just created a safe space for you to be curious so that you could find out what it is that you needed to start living the life that you came here to live.
I love that. That's so, and I'm so glad that you explained that clearly because that's the key to, you mentioned when we first started talking that your clients, working with your clients, they couldn't get past certain things. And
Yeah.
to me, that's exactly how I felt before I met you. I was like, there, I'm hitting a wall. I keep going so far in my business and then I'm stopping. And I just felt like I was just hitting a dead end, like constantly driving to the end of the road and then going, okay, now what? And
Yeah.
so to me, this is my own personal experience going through this process and understanding this work and being a part of it. And now I'm getting certified in it to help my clients because I can see how powerful it is. It's helped
Yeah.
me see the next road I need to go down. It's helped me move forward instead of feeling like I don't have any, I can't go any further. I'm like
Right.
to the point and I can't go any further. I love that so much. And so I'm going to shift a little bit. Kimberly and I met her through the Somagetics Hangout Facebook group. And we got to talking, we connected, and we have so much in common that it's just wonderful. And then a beautiful thing happened. I'm in the mountains of Colorado, and for those of you that follow me, I'm a full-time RVer, so we're always traveling around, and we just happen to be in Colorado for this time. And Kimberly and I were chatting one, and she's like, my family's in Glenwood Springs, which is right outside of where we are right now. And I was like, really? She happened to be coming through and we got to meet face to face, which doesn't always happen when you do things virtually. So in that time when we met, we were talking and you mentioned earlier that you and Laura were working together and then she transitioned and passed on. And so you were in a different place with when that happened and you and I met. And for those of you that don't know, I do business planning for women leaving a medical profession and work with them on starting a business. And so Kimberly and I started talking. And then if you want to share kind of how that unfolded, you and I ended up
Yeah.
talking about connecting
Right.
in on a
Yeah.
business capacity.
Right, right. Well, I knew that, excuse me, I knew that my students often didn't have a practice. So they come to this program to have a modality that they can use to start a business, start a practice. Um, Many people come to us with modalities, they have a practice and they just want to add this skill set, and that's great. But some of them come because they want to get out of the JOB situation and be their own boss and start a business, and they have no skills or no tools. So we knew that it was a missing component for our students. And when I met you, Suzy, and I knew that you had a workbook, and I looked at your workbook and I thought, oh, this is going to be great for my students, really need this. As I was working through your workbook, I went, oh crap, I need this. because even though I had an established practice as a practitioner, I have one-on-one clients and I have an established business, the certification program, I had to pivot, like hardcore pivot because my business partner died. So I had an established business, but because I had to shift gears so drastically, your system was so simple and it really it gave me some steps that I needed that and I needed especially at that point because I was so overwhelmed with the big change, drastic sudden change in my life. The loss not only of a business partner, but a mentor and friend. So I was like pretty overwhelmed and your just your book gave me the workbook gave me what I needed to keep moving forward. And then when we met in person, we just connected and just felt this alignment. And I was like, yeah, I really, really want to bring you on my team and have you part of the organization and actually teach this live, not just give my students a workbook, but really teach this this way of simply getting started for those who have no clue what to do to start a practice. They're really great at the skill of, the methodology, but what's often missing, which I've seen for many years with new practitioners, is they're really good at the method, but they're not really good at being a business owner. And that when I learned that personally, to not just think of myself as a great practitioner, which I was a really good practitioner, but I now have to also be a really great business owner and shifting my mental process around growing my business from I'm a great practitioner, you need me, come see me, to I'm an amazing business owner and I specialize in this method. Total game changer for me. And when I was sharing that with you, that like really resonated with you as well. And we partnered, and now here we are offering this course through my certification program because not only do people need these basic, simple skills and tools and an actual step by step process to get your business started, but it's the mindset around it, which is also so important. And that's one of the things I loved about you that we really resonated on. It's so much of this is mindset. And the fact that your personal story was the mindset you had, which was probably subconscious at first, right? The
Mhm.
subconscious mindset that was holding you back from speaking. Shifting that was what was the breakthrough for you. And so I do that with my clients, but then with my students to have the opportunity to shift their mindset around how they bring this work to the world as a business owner is so invaluable. So I'm so grateful to have you on our team and partnering with us to help our students.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it because it aligns so perfectly with my mission for my business, which is I want to get as many healthcare providers the opportunity to have their own practice, to do their own thing, to reach people in a different way. And then knowing that you have trauma energetics coaching is, to me, it's the key. It breaks through for any type of therapy. So even if it's financial. People have
Yep.
financial blocks. People have business. We just talked about business blocks, just in general, being an entrepreneur. Maybe speaking. Maybe they want to
Mhm.
be a public speaker, but they're holding back because they don't want to do that. It can work with anything, nutrition,
Yeah.
health. It's
Mhm.
so broad in how much it can affect. And that was what aligned with me. I was like, I have to work with Kimberly because she's reaching the world. I want to reach the world. And that's the purpose of going live today is we have to talk about it and allow people to understand it and get to know what it is that we do. And I really want to speak to if you want to do this modality, if this is something that resonates with you, would you mind sharing how people can get certified? So if they're like, "Ooh, I definitely want to add this to my practice, what I'm already doing," or I'm working right now and I've been wanting to start my own coaching practice, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, any of those things, how can people tell me a little bit about the program, like what is
Sure.
involved?
Right. So first of all, I just want to share that it's a standalone system that you can create a business around. And it's also something that you can add to other modalities. So we have students that are in the financial industry, that have clients that are having blocks around finances. We have we have nutrition coaches, that have clients that have blocks around doing the protocol. We have all different kinds of practitioners and people that want something as a methodology to start. So this is a system that can be standalone and it can be incorporated into other skill sets that you might have. And the program is technically a year long, but you can actually complete certification in as little as 6 months. And it's a combination of self study work, videos, and reading um, materials and some homework that you have on your own. And then it's also combined with live classes that we do on virtually. So every month, we have 2 very intensive 3-hour-long live classes where we're practicing the skills that we taught in the, self-study portion. And we actually focus most of our time on practicing the skills with our teachers and with the other students. So it's a lot of hands-on content. So again, if you're needing to go a little slower, you can take a whole year to complete. If you want to get going and just be done quickly, it's a 6-month process. And part of it is a self-healing journey. One of our main missions is to help people heal themselves so that they can facilitate the healing of others. So you get 6 sessions with one of our certified practitioners that's just for your personal growth and development as you move through the process so that you not only have the personal growth but that you have a real deep personal experience of the work so you really know what you're doing for your client. And we practice with each other and we don't make up issues to work on. We practice with our colleagues around what's really happening for us in present time. So it's a lot of personal development and personal healing that happens during the 6 months to a year that you're with us. There's the foundation. So we learn the foundation of the nervous system, of the trauma physiology, and the energetics. And then we use a system called the 5 survival energy patterns so that we can understand, it's a map of understanding how each person might get patterned into specific defensive behaviors. There's 5 very common defensive behaviors that people get wired into in early childhood. So we spend a lot of time teaching you the childhood development stages, and if we get disrupted during those stages, what is the outcome for us in our personality and our behaviors? And then we move into the last section, which is how to have a session using this methodology from the beginning to the end. It is a repeatable system that you can learn. There's 4 phases to the system that we use. So we take you through each phase of the system so that by the time you're done, you have a really good understanding of the nervous system and how stress and trauma affects the nervous system. You understand the main patterns that people get into and the nuances of those so that you can tailor your client support based on your client's individual issue. And then we teach you how to do the system. So it's, again, something that can be done in 6 months or as long as a year. You get a lot of personal healing in the process. And in fact, we have a personal healing path. If you don't care about getting certified, but you want to learn the system and you want to have the personal healing, and maybe you just want to use this with your friends and family and maybe your church community or something where you just don't need a certification, but you want to learn and heal yourself. So we have different paths. We have the ability to do it quickly or in a year. And it's a personal healing path regardless. So if you're not willing or interested in personal healing, this is not for you.
Yeah, and I have to endorse the fact that the personal healing part of this was so powerful for me. That's really what made, because I now as I work through it, I know how to do it for myself. So when something comes up, because it always does, we're human beings. We have all of these things in life. Stress happens, triggers happen. You don't have to have a major traumatic event in your life for things to come up. And what I'm realizing is now that I'm learning this tool and understanding the system, I can use it for myself anytime. And so
Yeah.
I'm actually able to grow and expand and be my essential self all the time because I know how to do it. And I think that's the beautiful thing of not only the certification program, but also when you work with your clients get to learn how to self-regulate because you're
Yep.
you're walking them through it. And so it's
Yeah.
it's just such a powerful thing. And I want to add to the certification program because that's my new thing is starting in August. So starting next month, the starting your practice business course is going to be added to the certification program, which I'm so excited about because that's what Kimberly and I actually partnered on. And I'm writing the course. It's going to follow the same curriculum, similar. So it has your self paced learning, videos and assignments and things like that. But then we're going to do 2 calls. So there'll be a live class call that we do once a month and also a study hall where you can come together with other students. And again, it's that hands-on practice. So for those of you that are in a business or starting a business, that's something that you have to learn. You have to learn that new mindset and then you have to practice it. You have to practice saying what it is and practice sharing what it is. And again, like what I work through, practice speaking up because nobody's going to know about your business unless you talk about it. You have to talk about it. So, but thank you so much for being here. Somagetics.net is the website. If you're interested in learning more about this methodology and this coaching style, all the things that Kimberly and I talked about. If you're interested in finding out more, you can go to somagetics.net. All the information's there. Anything else you want to share, Kimberly, before we go?
Well, I apologize if our internet is not great. One of the things that Susie and I have in common is that we both kind of live outside of the normal. I'm totally off grid, and Susie's traveling around in her RV. And so sometimes the internet's not great. But one of the things that I love about you is like your capacity to think outside of the box and work outside of the system, right? We both have embraced living in a different way and working in a different way. And I think that a lot of people are interested in that and excited about that. And, we are proof that you don't have to follow the norm. You can be successful and you can live your best life outside of the box. So if you're interested in that, please join us because, you can have a very different life and really tune into what your essential self desires, and you can actually live it and make that happen. There is a way. So you're a
Yeah.
great example of that, Susie. And that's one of the things that I loved about you.
Thank you so much, and I agree. That's what you and I connected on, like, together. I know when we had our first Zoom call and you're like, "I live off the grid," and I'm like, "I wanna do that. We're in an RV right now, where that's our goal." Like, we wanna get out of
Mhm.
the streamlined society systems of
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
and just be and live and be happy, and we can be abundant and successful. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to follow the cookie cutter everything else that everybody
Exactly.
else is doing. So,
Exactly.
thank you so much. Thank you for the time taking the time to be here. Thank you
Mm.
for those of you that watched and for those of you if you're watching the replay, if you wouldn't mind putting in the comments #replay, then I know the people that watched it. And yeah, reach out to either one of us, Kimberly Ward, myself, if you have any questions or anything that you want to know about, and we would be happy to share that with you.
Thanks, Susie.
Thanks, Kimberly.